Auzubillahiminash-shaytanir-rajeem. Bismillahir-rahmanir-rahim. Assalamu-alaikum. Ji ayanu, pakhair ragale, ni hao, chunashumme, washmale, Ohio Gonzaimas, Guten Morgen, Hola, Bonjour, Privyet, Kaifahal, Halashuma Chatore, Ahlan Wasalan, Marhaba. Buna, mucho gracias, Swabio, Balli Kirea, Hosh Galdin, and Iosayo, Huyamora, Chivato, Chihal, Youth, Kalimera, and a very warm welcome to everybody who's tuned into PTV World and are watching World this morning alongside my very well-learned colleague who happens to be Miss Hajar Satti. I happen to be Shahzad Hassan Khan, and after a rainy night, ladies and gentlemen, it's a sunny Thursday morning over here in Islamabad. I feel great. I think Islamabad looked beautiful. Islamabad looked all washed up as well. And it was wonderful to drive towards work today. And it's a great day. And we hope that everybody out there is going to have a great day ahead as well. And that you're going to chase your goals. But first things first. Hello, Hajra. How are you doing today?
Assalamu alaikum. Thank you so much for introducing me. Jazakallah khair. So yes, we did had the rain, but it was followed by a lot of gale storm and all of that andi and a strong breeze that was a part of it. And I never knew that it was going to rain because was it in the prediction? I never had the rain prediction checked it up. But as we always maintain and say that Islamabad looks beautiful, especially after the fresh showers, because the dust resides down and you can see with a great clarity, and especially when I'm coming to the office, I could see from miles away the mosque, Faisal Mosque, and it's such a great view to hold. But Shahzad, as I was going through my Twitter feed and I came across, and
Is your Twitter working?
Yeah.
Might be aren't loading even till today.
I think that there's something wrong with your mobile, but with Twitter is perfectly fine. Okay. So I was going through it, and since the summers are coming in, June is kicking in, and we've seen that especially when it comes to the Hollywood's big screen, a lot of movies are coming. DC Marvel is coming, we talked about it. Flash is coming.
Fast and Furious even came out.
Yes, Flash is coming, and also Tom Cruise movie, Mission Impossible, The Dead Reckoning is also coming. And I think last year we had the Tom Cruise, what do you call that movie in which he plays the part of the pilot and he goes on a mission. So it was a full of thriller. No. There was another movie. So
I've seen that movie. Yeah,
we both have seen that.
Because I saw the promotions as well. Where he's flying. The planes by himself as well, and then he had James Corden over. While they were promoting the film as well. But I think you very.
He was actually flying that, and his team were also flying that airplane.
And then there was a dogfight in between as well.
Yes. It was a very high budget movie, and the actors went through very rigorous, I think, a year training, something like that, underwater training and overseas training, something like that. And it was really, really amazing because Tom Cruise is known for the thrill, for the adventure, and for a lot of goosebumps, right? So, Shahzad, are you excited for the Mission Impossible because Ethan Hunt is returning again?
I think I'm really
solve
excited.
A mystery.
I think I'm really excited because the last time when I watched the Mission Impossible, my father was with me as well, and I was like, look what he's doing at 60 and look what you're doing at 60. And I think a lot of people have got a lot of messages to take from Ethan as well. And ladies and gentlemen, to be very honest, I think everybody's excited because the kind of stunts they do. And we will certainly be talking about it tomorrow with all of those stunts and whatnot. But now let's come back to where I just wanted to say that, that imagine that, whenever it's a Thursday, I believe that, it's going to be Friday soon and it's going to be the weekend. And I hope that,
you're very excited about it.
You guys are planning accordingly. But now let's move on towards our top stories. And then we'll come down to the first segment as well, where I think, this thing which we will be discussing today, ladies and gentlemen, have been around my head, and it has been bugging me quite a lot of times, and I'm grateful that we actually came up with this topic. But first up, ladies and gentlemen, let's take a good look what's happening inside the country and outside the country as well.
So Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif has said the roots of the mutinous attack on the state, its symbols and sensitive installations on 9th of May lie in the contents of Imran Niazi's speeches over past 1 year. In a tweet, the Prime Minister said Imran Niazi literally deployed a religious imagery to brand his political agitation as a war between the truth and the falsehood. And obviously, we really, really condemn all sort of public hooliganism, all sort of the attacks on the state institutions. It is never the right way attacking people. And I've also seen that one visual where the mob was so infuriated that they first asked to vacate the ambulance and they put it on the fire, which was really, really bad because obviously ambulances are just for the public work. They are there to take the patients to the hospitals, and playing with the life of a patient, especially because it's already in a vulnerable condition, it's very condemnable and it's not even allowed in the Islam, right?
Exactly. And Haja, I'm really sad because I believe that, that we speak about democracy. We speak about so many different things on so
Yes.
many higher levels as well. But I believe that, that we really need to get our basics right, and the mass population of youngsters over here inside the country really needs to be educated.
That's true.
And I think that civic sense which needs to be instilled within our youngsters is
That's true.
missing.
That's
And
true.
for all of those people, you who have been a part of this, the darkest day, which we refer to as 9th of May 2023, should be punished, and they should be made an example of as well. But with that, ladies and gentlemen, moving on, where Army Chief General Syed Asim Munir has reassured the ranks and file that all those responsible for bringing shame to the nation on Black Day of 9th May would certainly be brought to justice. Wonderful, just as we wanted. During his visit to Sialkot Garrison, the Army Chief underscored that recently planned and orchestrated tragic incidents will never be allowed at any cost. During his interaction with officers and troops, he stressed upon maintaining focus on Army's professionalism and preparedness to deal with complex internal and external security challenges, including propaganda warfare. And to be very honest, imagine that, whatever people did, whatever all of those ladies and men on the streets did, whatever hooliganism they were a part of, ladies and gentlemen, imagine the morale of Pakistan Army. Imagine that, if I am to take you back to 1965 war or 71 war or Kargil war or 2005 earthquake or the floods which have been around in Pakistan, we've been so vulnerable. Which was that one institute which was always there to work for the welfare of the nation? It was Pakistan Army. So please make sure that you always love and respect your army.
That's true. Thank you so much for very brilliantly putting it out there. So moving on to the 34th National Games are underway in the Quetta with many sporting events taking place today. Badminton, boxing, kabaddi, football, handball, volleyball, rugby, baseball and fencing events are being held today. In hockey, Army, Navy, Air Force and WAPTA have qualified for the semi-finals. The final will be played on 19th of May. On the 5th day, WAPTA clinched gold in softball and Army qualified in the men's boxing semi-final. Right. So, we've seen that obviously such sort of events are very much important. But now moving on to our today's topic.
I wanted to ask you a question first before we move on to this topic. And I'm not sure, but I guess that, she might have a disagreement with that, and we always have disagreements.
Yes.
And yesterday, the clip you uploaded, I think it was interesting. The banter was nice too as well. So, Haja, what I'm going to ask you is, I know the answer already, but I do not know whether you're going to agree to it or not. What do you think is the most profitable or amongst the most profitable businesses in the world?
Okay, so when you talk about the world, certainly you're skipping Pakistan, and I'm not sure because I do not have that much knowledge about the business and business administration, whatever.
Yep.
But when you talk about the profitability, I think the social media are giants, these unicorns, they are very profitable. And look, for example, the case of Meta. So Meta does not have Facebook. It has also purchased WhatsApp because
Yes.
WhatsApp was a very profitable entity, and it has investing in the artificial intelligence, and it has so many other subsidiaries that literally it's a unicorn, it's a giant, and it is also one of the representatives of the America, which is representing America in the global economy.
But let me sort it out. It's news making. So one of the most profitable
I
businesses
disagree. No.
is news making,
No.
and it's because of the fact that, imagine, ladies and gentlemen, at least in our part of the world, people would not think twice. They'll be like, okay, this is on television, and that's what people buy. People do not put in their own research. And while you said social media, I think social media, what they do is that they make news themselves as well. Even if it's not them, it's one of us who's actually making
Content
news.
creators,
Even if we
yes.
are tweeting,
Yes.
there's some part of the information, north, east, west, south. I think that's what we cater to today. But ladies and gentlemen, whenever we're gathering information, what do we have in our mind? Do we actually think that, okay, whether this news is 100% transparent, whether it's authentic, whether it's correct? Do we have this ability to check from different sources that whether this news is literally authentic and honest and trustworthy? I think that's something which we need to talk about. Not just that, there was one more thing which was always in my head, and that was that, okay, so we talk about books quite a lot, and
Yes.
I'm thankful to my very well-learned colleague. She's a very habitual of
Jazakallah.
reading as well, and it's because of her peer pressure that I had to read books too as well. But eventually, whenever you're reading books, you're like, okay, it's not really important for me. This is something which I thought that do I really need to pick this up from this author, and do you think that it actually applies on me? That was something which I always wanted to talk about, and we are very thankful that we've actually been joined by a person, ladies and gentlemen, who totally deserves to kind of share his knowledge with us and our viewers in 46 different countries. We're very lucky that we've been joined by Mr. Professor Zameer Awan Sahab. Hello sir, Assalamu alaikum, good morning, how are you feeling today?
Alhamdulillah, wa alaikum assalam, I'm all right.
Sir, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you
Wonderful
so much
to
for
have you
joining
over
us.
here. And the chaos we have seen in the past few days and the world over happens to be because of the news circulating on different channels, because of the news on social media, because of people not researching. What do you have to say about it? Your first-hand information.
First of all, I endorse your statement, newsmaking is a good business.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much.
As a matter
Good
of fact,
business, not the most profitable. Okay, sir.
as a
go
matter
ahead.
of fact, media is a tool.
Yes.
It can be used positively, it can be used negatively.
True.
Unfortunately, under current scenario, the negative use is much more than the positive aspect.
That's true.
If we look at the globally, I will give you the example of Iraq war. BBC broke a news that Iraq is building weapon of mass destruction. Then media has built a narrative that the weapons of mass destruction are threat to the humankind globally. Then some countries lobbied and formed alliance, and allied forces attacked Iraq and destroyed the infrastructure, powerhouses, refineries, and killed millions of people.
True.
Forced millions of people to flee from the Iraq, take refuge in the refugee camps, or migrate to other countries. After the end of the war, Hague, International Court of Justice, conducted some inquiry, and they found that there was no weapon of mass destruction.
That's true.
And BBC apologized that it was a mistake, a wrong news which they broke before the attack. But, and also the British Prime Minister resigned. But is it possible that the people who has died become alive?
No.
No.
Repenting is not the solution.
True.
It is not only once. The same happened with the Libyan case, with Syria, Afghanistan, 9/11, Arab Spring, and so many other places.
True.
So the media has been used as a tool to build narrative and launch a war against adversaries.
Exactly.
Unfortunately, Pakistan is a very vulnerable country in this aspect.
True.
We have around 70% youth in this country, mostly very well educated, but due to the scarcity of the jobs, the youth are helpless, are guideless, and they are easily influenced by the media.
And sir, in addition to that, it's not just the media we're influenced by, even, if my neighbor's khala is going to come and say something to my mom about me, I think my mother is going to believe her in the first place.
That's true.
I think it's a cultural thing over here. कि वो पुप्पी आगे किसी को कुछ कह देगी तो वो अपने बच्चे से नहीं पूछेंगे. I'm sorry, I had to say this in Urdu.
Yes,
and people are going to trust it. If somebody is going to come to my mother and say something about my father, my mother will actually trust somebody else rather than trusting my father. It's a very family-oriented cultural thing over here.
Unfortunately, Pakistan is the worst victim of the media war.
True.
In 80s, narrative was built that jihad is important, and we were used against the Russian in Afghan war. And when this jihad was against the American, they termed it as a terrorist.
True.
I mean, this is the narrative. This is selling the narrative. This is the media. This is the hybrid tool of war.
Exactly.
And
sir,
also
in addition to
in
that,
this era of Shahzad, where we find so many diverse voices and where narrative is monopolized by the Western liberal order, we need to find our own trumpet to blow our own voice, right? So, for example, Al Jazeera started broadcasting a very different perspective on the Iraq war, and the first thing they did was that they bombed their office in the Iraq.
True.
And this is how we saw that, how they monopolized that narrative, right? So, for what I mean, and that is why it is a very much important responsibility on me and Shahzad being working working in an English channel because English channel projects your voice globally, right? English is the lingua franca, we can't deny that, right? But sir, when we come analyze the landscape of social media, there's so much misinformation, there's so much disinformation, there's so much fake news, and being a journalist, I can say that for certainty that misinformation spreads more rapidly. Rather than what you call, if you give some sort of a statement that it's a false news, that it's a fallacy, it does not circulate that widely, right? So I think people also like to listen to very juicy news out there, sensationalism out there. How do we protect our young people from this malice of the
misinformation? And sir, in addition to that, there's one more thing, so obviously we would want you to kind of refer to us, as per the social media and the behaviors. There's clickbaiting, look at what the father did, the caption would be father did to a 4-year-old daughter, things like that, unfortunately. But imagine there's one more thing, and that is that, if there was a massive school killing, in US or God forbid in New Zealand or elsewhere, they wouldn't term it as terrorism themselves, because it was a United States citizen. They would rather say that, he was a psychopath, there was a problem with his upbringing and whatnot. And God forbid, if it's somebody who's named as Zahir, and he goes out on a killing spree as well, all of a sudden it's our religion which is being targeted. And I've been saying it for a longer period of time that Muslims are the new blacks, and I think that's how we have suffered from it as well. Please.
Unfortunately, by design, media has been used to radicalize the Muslim world, especially the Pakistan. We have been charged, we have been radicalized, we have been termed as a terrorist, extremist, intolerance was promoted, and we were divided based on ethnicity, religious sects, and political aspects. So we become worst victim of this media. How we have to correct it? Let me share with you my experience. I spent almost 27 years abroad. I studied abroad, I worked abroad as a diplomat, as a tourist, and I have spent almost 27 years abroad. In other countries, I have noticed, especially the youth, they are very busy. Most of them, they have the job, and some of them, they have the double job. People are busy making money, are in the healthy activities. They join the gym, they go to the sports, they go to the club, they go to many healthy activities. In Pakistan, I found our youth is very difficult to find a job, and if they got one job, they don't bother for the other job. The most of the time, they are sitting on their mobile, laptops, and interacting with the
sir, how do
social
we find
media.
Positivity, especially Shahzad, in an environment where everywhere you are bombarded by the news that there's a gloom and doom out there and everything is going in a downward trajectory. So how do we look for positivity in this environment? I would say charged negativity.
And I would want to answer it first, sir, only if you allow me. I mean, it's not about social media. So imagine, earlier there were days and there were families who would actually go to bed at 8 p.m. at night. Then there were families who would actually kind of bother them by going to their place and then waking them up. Oh, we are here. And, there were people who would right away, say it on their face. Hey, you know what? It's our time to sleep. Please come back tomorrow in the morning. And that's the time when we'll see each other. So there have been filters every time. And people who want to progress, people who want to do something, will use it for the best of their interest. They won't use it just like scrolling up and down as well. People have goals, they're focused on it as well.
But
we do use it quite a lot.
Let's admit that we are, wasting our time, a lot of time just by scrolling it there. We do use
that. At times
that.
it does happen, and we might need it too as well. There's a bit of entertainment we want in between our work as well. Exactly. But in addition to that, sir, the filters have always been there. One of my Pupas, they used to sleep early, we used to respect that. Even now, when I went to the UK, I called my doctor at 7 p.m. and the doctor wasn't very happy with me. And he said that Mr. Khan, you can call me at 6 in the morning, but don't ever call me again after 6 p.m. I was like, okay, sir, I'm really sorry and I apologize for bothering. That's how it is. Please.
When you are saying these things, I am smiling from inside because I go to bed at 9 o'clock.
MashaAllah.
Wonderful.
And my children, I ask them to switch off the light. Of course, they use the table lamp and chori chupe. They will be using the mobile and something. But at least on the surface 9 o'clock is the deadline.
Yeah, they respect it.
They might sleep 9:30, 10, 10:30, 11, but not the midnight.
Okay.
Definitely.
True.
Because we sleep at night 9 o'clock, and we don't sleep after the Fajr prayer.
MashaAllah.
Wonderful.
And I mean, we have the longer working day
True.
and shorter night to
Sleeping
sleep.
hours, yes.
Yes. And I know many other people are practicing the same thing, but still the majority is sleeping late. And
But then, sir, how do we find positivity in an environment which has been instilled with a lot of negativity, right? So, for example, if you're finding every day on the social media that there's a news of gloom and doom and everything is going on a downward trajectory, how to inculcate positivity and how to make sure that the energies of our youth are channelized in a more productive way, because obviously social media is a source of empowerment for a lot of people out there. People
Exactly.
are earning millions of dollars on the social media, right? So it's not just, you know, ideally using it or scrolling it, is also a source of I mean income for them, right? So how do we do that?
definitely by social media many people are earning,
Yes.
but there are very few people. Majority of the people just scrolling and wasting their time,
very
Yeah.
and the negativity is much more. I tell you that I used to get 400,000 to 500,000 messages each day. It is not possible to read all of them.
True.
Yes.
And I will request the Pakistani youth not to forward the message without conducting the thorough research and confirm the authenticity of the information.
Exactly. And sir, share with them, you know, how do you think that they are supposed to check it in the first place, authenticate the news. Share that process with them so that we certainly do not have to talk about it over and over again, because me and Hajra, we've spoken about this issue so many times,
Yes.
but we do not see people getting onto the right track as well.
I used to receive messages forwarded as it is received. I never ever read such messages.
Wow.
I never ever forward such messages. If there is a proper link, I open the link and go to the website and
Check it
judge
out.
it.
Yeah.
Because some of the websites are really mischievous, and by design, by default, they are spreading the misinformation.
Exactly.
We have to judge it.
And we have to judge it by our experiences. I think that, you know,
Exactly.
that people really need to kind of go to the original page, check for how many followers they have, the kind of news they have been sharing, and only then you can authenticate it. Go to another news channel as well. Make sure that if they're sharing the same news with the same statistics, because there's so much difference in statistics as well. And I think that's the first catch for everybody. But sir, now very quickly, before we wrap up this segment, my very own personal question, and that is that just because of the peer pressure, my colleague reads a lot of books. I had to read books too as well, just to be competitive, you know, and it needs to be there.
It's a healthy competition, right?
Obviously, even though I do not believe that competition is healthy, but yes,
really?
obviously. But now what I wanted to ask you was that, you know, there's so many times, because these days on social media, people obviously do not want to read books. They have motivational speakers. Motivational speakers,
yes.
to me, is more of a newer form of a book which speaks by itself, you know, to be very honest. And, you know, they say things which are not relevant to my life. You know, they come from a walk of life which I've never experienced. They say things which I might not have experienced and I might not experience in the rest of my life as well. And, you know, just because of that, you know, it creates so much pressure on you that, okay, I have to perform wonderfully well. Now, imagine a person who's wasting his time onto such a motivational talk, point one, and not doing anything. So there's no action. He's just listening to podcasts, motivational talks. Do you think it will help? Number one. Number two, do you think that all of those authors who write these amazing, marvelous books, and, you know, I've screenshot like so many books as well, which I am supposed to read. Do you think that, you know, taking away one or two things which the author might have put in the book for you is going to work for you always, or do you think it can be the other way around as well?
I think that the motivational speakers, listening to them is an easy way, that you don't need to spend energy, you are just
Yes.
watching it.
Easy way.
I mean, you are not tense.
But sir, somebody is training me to earn billions of dollars, but that particular gentleman has not earned a single dollar. The sole reason why he's a motivation speaker is he wants his content to work on YouTube so that at least he can make some money off YouTube.
Maybe he is making, but what's the benefit to you?
Yeah, true.
I mean, first of all, we have to understand, if I read this book or read this news or listen this motivation speaker, I am learning something, I am gaining something. The second thing, that before forwarding any message, we we must analyze what will be the impact.
True.
Will it create chaos and hate in the society, or it will be helpful in uniting the nation and helping the people? I mean, we should be very clear about the objectives, why we are sharing this post.
Yes.
Exactly. And,
Yes.
What are the
Haja, I would
objectives?
want you to answer this question as well.
Okay, so I think, yes, you have talked about a lot of time about the life coaching, and you will find that this is a billion-dollar industry because so many people are earning out of it, right? And obviously, I'm not denying the sad benefits out of that, but if you go into the root cause of it and if you analyze that why it's such a sprawling industry, it's because people have delineated the spirituality from their life, especially in the West. So, right, they are just looking after their physical health, or they are running after the money, and they're shutting a lot of voices that comes from the spirituality.
True.
So if you follow your religion, I think there's enough motivation in that religion,
Thank
in
you
the
so
theology, right? So make sure that you choose your battles wisely, and which voices to amplify and which voices to shut down, because obviously your health, holistic health, including your spiritual health, depends on that. Thank you so much, sir, for coming on our show.
Exactly.
for
And in
having
addition
us.
to that, you know, before we wrap up this segment, ladies and gentlemen, there's one urge which I would want to make, there's one pledge which I would want to make, and that is that it is our religion which tells us
Yes.
that wherever you may probably be, may be the most difficult time in your life or may be the most happiest time of your life,
Yes.
please make sure that every time if you're saying something, that it's 100% truth and nothing other
That's
than
true.
truth. Please make
That's
sure
true.
that you say that as well. With that, we're actually heading out towards a short break. Now, after a short break, when we come back, we'll share examples of people who might not be scrolling onto their cell phones. Rather, these are the women of action. Why do we call them women of action? Ladies and gentlemen, right after a short break, don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. Good morning. It's a great day.
Welcome back. So we were having a very scintillating conversation, very tantalizing conversation during the break, and which was hinged around the concept of the women empowerment and women entrepreneurship. And we yesterday certainly had this very fruitful conversation regarding the women empowerment. What does that concept encapsulate? But now, since we have two wonderful ladies in the house who are going to talk about the women entrepreneurship, what exactly that does mean, and also women entrepreneurship gives us a safe space to the women out there who do not want to go out there, or they feel that the spaces are not very safe when they step out from their houses. So we are very glad that we have been joined by Masooma Zubairi. She happens to be a senior photojournalist. Assalamu alaikum, and thank you so much for coming to our show.
And thank you so much for calling me on.
Thank you so much for
Wonderful.
joining. It's wonderful to have you over here.
And joining her, we have also very glad that we have been joined by Miss Maliha Ahmed. She happens to be an educationist, and she is doing entrepreneurship in the food-related items, because Shahzad is also asking about the samosas and pakoras, and obviously being Pakistani, we love such sort of deep-fried food.
I mean,
samosas
at
and
times, you know,
pakoras.
obviously you do make all of these samosa and pakoras at your place, but
Yes.
they would never taste the same. You know, the
Yeah.
ones you order it from someone
Yes, that's-
else's house. I mean, you know, everybody's got
Yes.
different taste as well.
Yes.
But-
Assalamu alaikum, and thank you so much for coming to the show.
Walaikum assalam.
Yeah, it's
Thank
wonderful
you
to
for
have
the
you,
call.
and we've labeled you as women of action because earlier we were discussing about news and social media. So you two are definitely examples that you haven't been scrolling on your phones, but rather working, rather making sure you take more action.
Or doing both.
Yeah, and believing, and I certainly believe in that. You know, action speaks louder than words
Yes,
as well.
yes.
Why do you think there was a need for you to be a photojournalist? Was it a passion for you? Do you think that it was need-based, or you always wanted to do it?
As a passion, yes, I followed my passion, but it turned out to be my, business because, I was getting publicity and, people were liking my work and everything.
Mashallah.
So, and my work was recognized in UK as well.
Wonderful.
Yep.
So that actually pushed me to create a company for my own self and registered it.
So for somebody who was recognized as the best chief executive officer in the United Kingdom as well, why do you think there was a need for you to have your own company rather than be a CEO at somebody else's company?
I believe, you know, if you're the boss, you're the boss.
Yeah, but being a CEO, you're the boss, right? No?
So, you know, that feeling is very different when you have your own company and, you know, you're the CEO for the company and, you know, people coming up to you, oh, you are the CEO of your own company. How did you manage? Like, you know, you're asking me. So it's kind of different feeling you have inside you that, yeah, I have
What
achieved
comfort
something.
does it give you? You know, to now know that Alhamdulillah, you stand tall on your own feet, that you have actually done something which you always wanted to do in your life, that you've achieved so much. What kind of a standing does it give to you?
I think the willpower or maybe the standing alone but confident and the gratification we have through this standing alone and earning something good out of it is basically the
मैं करके
gratification.
दिखाऊंगा।
And obviously, Shahzad, you will find that because of the social media, because of our Android smartphones, the cameras have been bettered so much with every new coming model. And you will find that there is such a huge niche out there for people who are bloggers, who are blogging about the food, who are blogging about the makeup, or maybe the attire or clothing, apparels, and especially you will find that there is a lot of respite on the social media because I don't think so that there is so much taxes upon the social media as compared to the offline
Rather you can
business,
earn
right?
money.
Yes.
Yes.
So Maliha, coming back to you, since you have a business related to the food and you know we talked about the samosas and pakoras. So do you believe it's empowering to you, and how do you derive your own compassion from all of your entrepreneurship?
Basically, it's a passion because I'm not, I didn't belong to a job, business-oriented family or any
माशाल्लाह,
background.
सुखी फैमिली से आ रही हैं आप।
Yes, I belong to a job-oriented family. So there are a lot of options and a lot of motivation for jobs, but not for business. But as I did MBA and BCom, the passion in myself created a like it becomes
volcano
yes,
eruption,
it's
yes.
erupted like a volcano. No, don't go for job. Just do your own
But
something.
entrepreneurship at the same time is very risky, right, Shahzad? Because a lot of time it does fail, right? And job is deemed to be a very safe space because obviously you are getting the money, and in entrepreneurship you can risk out the money falling down, right? So
See,
do you have
entrepreneurs
this-
are lions, yeah. You know, entrepreneurs are lions. You know,
But not everyone
they are the
surpasses
ones who
that.
actually decide for their own fate as well. It's wonderful.
And
but
I think 90% fail because I was reading a study, you know, because
Yeah,
you
because
need
they
a lot
lose
of,
hope.
yes,
Yeah.
They lose
And
hope.
because they started their businesses because they wanted to earn money in a just in a jerk.
हाँ जी, बात
They
है, मैं-
don't want to do hard work. They don't want to know what is networking, what is the business in itself. Like if we learned and we studied the business, one generation do a hard work and then the next generation will
That's what my
earn the
father tells
profits
me,
of
that
it.
you know we work
Yes.
so hard and you are actually going
Yes.
crazy about spending money as well. Don't do that. But very quickly, you know, you just mentioned that you were from a background where no woman was working earlier, right?
Yes.
Do you think it was difficult for you to convince everybody that okay, you know, not a job, but I would want to have my own business? And I think that's something which your family might be really happy about.
In the beginning, everyone says that it's just a time being
Maliha baji
passion.
ko
Yeah.
dekho,
हाँ,
aap
yes,
कारोबार
yes.
करना है जी।
Yes, yes. In the beginning, everyone says like कोई बात नहीं, थोड़े दिन का शौक है, पूरा कर लेगी. My father is also with me. He
But when you
started
get your
making
first
things. Yes,
paycheck, that's
yes.
it, man. You're not stopping again.
Yes, and now because I have little kids, 3 kids I have, and the family is growing a lot. Then in every step, everyone says, "बस अब नहीं करेगी."
Yeah.
लेके but after few days, I stand up with again more passion, and the also now a passion is I want to show my kids a strong mother, a positive mother, and a hard-working mother.
Mashallah, and we would want to share pictures of you know what you actually make, and you know kind of ask you, you know, if your children love the kind of rolls and samosas and pakoras
Yes.
and fritters you've been making. Ladies and gentlemen, it's right in front of you. So imagine,
Oh, kebabs,
you know, it's more than
koftas.
that. You know, this gola kebab and rolled parathas
Shami
and
kebabs.
you know, yesterday obviously last night it was the perfect weather for having such sort of food as well. It was wonderful. And we want to certainly wish you best of luck for your future
Yes,
endeavors as
yes.
well. But let's come back to Miss Masooma over here. So we have spoken about your photojournalism, and obviously you've created waves and you made it yourself as well. Do you think that you know it's Allah who actually knows what the person actually wants,
I
and
think
then
yes.
it starts to unfold just like that?
Yes.
Yes, I believe it. And you know, the word tawakkul is there for to believe in him, to, you know, just have this belief in Allah that, you know, whatever you're going. Although I've in my own experience.
Yes.
We
We're sharing your images as well. That's how good Miss Masooma Zubairi is. Please continue.
At first, you know, I failed and I didn't get a penny for my photography.
Okay.
And that was the learning curve I had in my life.
Okay.
So nowadays, if I see youngsters, please, that's a request. Don't go after money. Just see that how you can excel your own qualities in your passion.
But Maliha, we are living, sorry, Masooma, we are living in a very picture saturated century, I would say, because Instagram is all about pictures, Snapchat is all about pictures, so is the TikTok. And if you find the previous mediums, for example, Facebook or Twitter, I mean, it's a more text-based medium, but pictures can assist that. But newer mediums, they are more picture saturated. So do you feel that this is the market which has a lot of saturation, and the younger people who are coming up, they're facing a lot of competition, right? So what sort of competitive edge would you like to describe for yourself, and what sort of advice would you like to give to all of those aspiring photojournalists who want to start their business on the social media?
Well, first, if you get inspired of some work or something, try to get it. I'm actually learning reels. I don't know how to make reels, but I'm learning it.
Okay.
So after having so much experience, I'm still learning it. How can this be done?
Right.
So it's learning curve ki koi age nahi hoti. So you can learn in any age. So first of all this, and secondly, for the young entrepreneurs, for the young people who are coming into this field, just believe in your work. If you have the aesthetic sense to take a picture from your mobile phone, it's good enough for you.
True.
Right.
And imagine, I think I would want to kind of resonate this by giving an example of Kentucky Fried Chicken, KFC, most popularly known as.
Yes.
You know, the business picked up when the gentleman was actually 55 or 60 years old.
Yes.
And having said so, ladies and gentlemen, I think it's the ability to never give up, and that's what our religion tells us. And imagine how I understood it. So imagine that Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, alhamdulillah, you know, after the Nabuwat, imagine that he used to go door to door, you know, place to place, making sure that he's going to spread the message of Allah Almighty and our religion.
Yes.
And, you know, people would throw stones at him, people would abuse him, people would do how many things. Imagine today, you know, the 2 billion population out of the 7 billion population, ladies and gentlemen, in this world are Muslims. He never gave up. I think that's one message everybody needs to have. Throughout your life, you can never give up. Please don't do that. That means that you do not have faith in Allah Almighty. Keep on trying new businesses. This is something which my executive producer always told me while I was working for another channel and I was new to television. He was like, okay, one program didn't work, make another one. This didn't work, make another one. You know, keep at it. But while we speak of it, obviously there are a lot of challenges. My challenges will vary from yours will vary from Masooma. So let's speak of those as well. You know, how did you overcome all of those hindrances and challenges which you had in your life? Did your husband help you quite a lot?
Yes.
Or do you think you had a support system? How did it go?
My husband, obviously, he is a very big support because. No, my husband obviously supports, but obviously he is also doing a job along with it. So
because if you won't, you know, you would say so many things to him.
My brothers, my father are also engaged with me.
Mashallah.
Not only myself, I say ke I am doing all the.
Baji niya samosa check. If I was your brother, Baji,
Inshallah, sir. Very soon you will get.
No, that's not what I'm saying. But if I would have been your brother, rather than being very productive, I would have been on your.
Even when we order something, my
Shahzad is saying, you know, people come
check
your samosa and eat all of that.
क्या पकाया आज? You check करा ना, वो दर्जन समोसे वही खा.
Even हमारे गेस्ट उसी दिन आते हैं when they know कि आज जो है ना बाजी कुछ क्या बना रही.
That's what I wanted to get out. Wonderful.
And my kids also.
But is it a challenge for you? Is it?
Yes, sometimes. Because sometimes with 2 samosas, I lost 1 dozen. So I have to remake all the stuff.
We do have this culture. Yeah, thoda sa check karana.
And we have so much norms of hospitality that you can't say anything to them because obviously they are.
And my kids even said that when we ordered something, they Mama आप जैसा नहीं बनाया. Like आप फिर भी आप ही पकाएं. So sometimes I say I want to take a short break, please. So
right. So Masooma, coming back to you, I'm pretty sure you must have faced your own challenges, and you talked about the learning curve. Do you feel that having a very strong support system is very essential essential for the progress or the success of your business. And if you do not have a strong support system, how do you build that?
Exactly.
In the
And
first place?
just very quickly before you answer that, so one day your khala would call you, Masuma, tumhari cousin ki shaadi, yaar, mera camera to le aana. Masuma, can you
Yeah, it
please
happens
get a
a lot.
camera?
Yeah, it
There's
happens
so
a
many
lot.
people who want everything for free in life, especially over here in the country we reside.
But what
Please
I
go ahead.
do is that I don't give gifts. This is the gift from my side.
Oh,
to my
wonderful,
family.
wonderful.
Okay.
So that is a strategy I adopt
But the
within
gifts
my family.
the maximum gift somebody is going to give is 5,000 rupees ki salami, 10,000 rupees ki salami, but you're giving them 200 pictures that can
It's
actually cost them
okay.
300,000 rupees.
I know there's no relationship in business, but sometimes you need to accommodate them in a way that to get the good pictures out of,
And
to
here
make
are the
them
gifts
happy.
you've been giving to people. Look.
Oh, wonderful.
Wow.
Picture. Beautiful.
Magnificent.
That was
Yes.
1st May, by the way, when I took this picture.
Mashallah.
Wonderful.
Just now?
So you
Yeah.
mostly focus on the nature photography or
It totally
was
when
portrait?
actually I'm building up new entrepreneurs. I give training as well. I do internships and trainings.
Right.
So in my class there are different sets of mind coming in.
Right.
So I cannot touch only one photography. I need to learn every genre because someone wants to do
Yes.
fashion, someone wants to do product,
Yes.
somebody is interested in wedding. So
Portrait,
if I don't know what are the lights and cameras, so I'm not be able
Yes.
to teach them what is the criteria
Wow.
of specific.
Wonderful.
And-
And ladies and gentlemen, these are the ladies of today. And it's not really important that everybody comes from a walk of life where there's a support system, where there's a lot of
Yes,
investment.
yes.
Everybody has picked themselves up. First thing, obviously, they believed in Allah Almighty, then
Yes.
they've believed in their talent, and they've made sure that they're going to progress towards or purposely move towards a direction which
One
they
thing-
think is right in their mind.
One thing I just want to say, you're talking about support system. Because I lost my mother back in 2003. So after that, my father, my brother, my sisters, my brother-in-laws, my sister-in-law, everybody in my family, my cousins, everyone, Mamu, Mani, everyone, they supported me so well.
Wonderful.
If I'm sitting here because of them.
MashaAllah.
And I want to also add something that if there is someone, no one supporting you, then don't lose the hope.
Exactly.
Start doing something and convince them. I also
Yes,
train
it is
some
essential.
mothers, or I also educate them that do it. Like nowadays we have easy paisa and jazz cash facility, so they only did work on WhatsApp and they started earning, and when their husband needs the money or they have any
can support
financial
them.
issues,
Yes.
they gave them cash and they said that I have earned this money with my this little amounts, so they are convinced.
But every time I ask somebody for money, they never give it to me.
Why do you
Because
ask
you
for money in the
are-
first
yes.
place?
Because they
already
think
have
that
it,
I'm able to
You have a
return it.
lot of mistakes.
So thank you so much, ladies, for coming
Well,
on
thank
our
you
show.
so much for joining us. It
Jazakallah
was wonderful
khair.
to be in
Yes.
conversation with you guys. And to be very honest, people like you, Haja, you,
Thank you,
my
Jazakallah.
sisters out there, everybody's working. And for all of those women who are actually making a difference, this son of yours is proud of you, this brother of yours is proud of
Jazakallah
you.
khair.
And that's how your family thinks about you as well. Please
Jazakallah
keep
khair.
at it. Make sure, ladies and gentlemen, that you do not trust on any news which you haven't authenticated
Yes.
yourself.
Yes, so until next time, it's a goodbye, Allah Hafiz, and good
Good morning. Have a great day.